Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new month's coverage for MSEM. This month we've got Grand Prix Rome, which is the largest Grand Prix that MSEM has ever had, which I feel like I got used to saying that at like the later half of last year, but I never could have imagined that we'd have broken 44 participants, which is just insane. Um, if you compare, I think GP participation to like this time last year, it's I like quadrupled at minimum. So this is amazing. And nothing shows that better than a round one match between two players who have never competed in a GP before. And they're going to be competing in a Mardu mirror, both of them on mid-rangey Mardu decks, as far as I know. So Kenneth's opening hand here, Bittersweet Reunion, is like it's like an okay turn two play, but it isn't really proactive. I think it's there. This and along with the Weeping Soul, they're there to mitigate lots of the loss of life from the pain lands. But you might not even get to draw a card off Bittersweet, depending on how things go. Meanwhile, Oshni doesn't have a play until turn 3, but then Trenchbottom Mariners and Eli Windsor's are both really impactful cards, and I think since they'd already mulled to 6, they didn't want to go any further. They had perfect mana, a little bit slow, but I think that Oshni's deck is definitely one that can just grind out the opponent. And another 3 drop, a little heavy on the 3s, definitely would have preferred to see a 2 drop there so you could curve out nicely. But yeah, looking at the list, Oshni's deck is a little bit overloaded on 3s. I think they only have two drops and the rest are all 3 drops, which definitely makes the curve a little bit awkward. Top deck, Wayfaring Pilgrim for Kenneth is going to be pretty great. Um, you just drop this. Next turn you have choice of Weeping Soul or Bittersweet Reunion. Bittersweet buffing the Wayfaring Pilgrim, of course. I'm a little sus of this main deck Ignition Ritual in what seems to be a relatively aggressively oriented deck. Um, it looks like it's only a 2 of, but they also have 2 Wicked Weaving, so not sure I super agree, but I guess if you're on the slower end, if you're a slower aggro deck, you may want to hedge versus the faster ones, but you're already losing a bunch of life to your pain lands. Maybe the thought is that you're gaining enough life off the rest of your cards that Ignition Ritual would be mostly. And we're finally at the 3 mana mark. Oshni draws yet another 3 drop. The question is which one to run out, because if you run out Eli won't be able to actually deal with the Wayfaring Pilgrim conclusively, which is the problem. Like Eli can really lock your opponent out of the game, but like you need to have either like 2 drops that can block well in Ishtu, or you need to be able to have removal that can curve into him so he can start locking down. Also, I just realized the card images were not as large as they could be, so let's change that for decks that y'all can read the. And now Oshni is going to crack all of their fetches just to get perfect mana here. I think that you should likely crack the Murky Pete first um, just to get a basic swamp, and then okay, it's gonna get mana. I was thinking that because you need black for sure. So, and if you get a white black land here, it'll have to be a pain land, and then you're losing 2 life, which is not a good time. And I think you definitely want a white black land here, and not just a not just a black one, because you want to be able to cast No Rest. Because No Rest is kind of broken. And if you curve Trenchbottom Mariners into it, so much the better. And they did take a little bit of time on the fetching, ends up with Lava Torn Fields, but yeah, definitely an issue there. Okay, now they're gonna run out probably the Trenchbottom Mariners. No, okay, the Dusk Lieutenant. The reason I was saying Trenchbottom Mariners is that Trenchbottom Mariners sets you up for a no rest next turn if you need to. Um, it eats a Wayfaring Pilgrim on the attack or trades with it if it only pumps once, and then you can just no rest it back next. So yeah, and your hand is already full of gas, so you don't really need the Forebode. So I really think that Trenchbottom Mariners was the play right there. Okay, so Kenneth drawing an Oracle's Vision, one of our format's best cantrips, especially if you're looking to use your graveyard as a resource. Though it does come with that double-edged sword of also milling your opponent, which in this matchup, very relevant given Trenchbottom Mariners, no rest, all of that. So I think you could drop Weeping Soul to make your board bigger, and then and then like next turn you have Bittersweet Reunion plus Weeple's attack. That's probably a good line. No, okay, he's gonna run out the Oracle's Vision, just trying to cantrip something. I think that running out the Oracle's Vision here is bad because knowing your opponent's deck, plus you want to, I think, proactively. So looks like Kenneth mills Weeping Souls, Hostile Dew, and a Fellor Charm. Meanwhile, Oshni mills Unearth, Eli, Performer of Ambition. Eli plus Performer are both good because, again, they can be no rested. But unfortunately, Oshni didn't play the Trench Bottom Mariner, so no rest is outside of their reach for now. Okay, then it's going to use the last 2 mana to Bittersweet Reunion. Gonna gain 2 there, buff up Wayfaring Pilgrim and Cantrip again. Hits another Oracle Vision. Oh no, wait, that was off the first Oracle Vision, sorry. Hits an Ancient Council. Ancient Council plus Wayfaring Pilgrim is just kind of gas. So you definitely don't attack with the Wayfaring Pilgrim here, you just wait for it to grow big enough to start outsizing the Dusk Lieutenant. There's another white card that Oshni can't play because they didn't do the fetching in the right order. And now this is going to be... because the Event Horizon is actually really good here, because taking out the Wayfaring Pilgrim before it can become like a real monster is pretty much what you want to do. And it also opens up your Dusk Lieutenant to not trading and all of that. You could also just play Eli +1, have the Dusk Lieutenant as a blocker for the Wayfaring Pilgrim. Obviously also, I think Trench Bottom Mariners is always the right play still, because it gives you access to no rest and fixes your white. So, but I think I think Performer is the worst card here because no one's close to being empty-handed. Discarding the Eli, no. Off of the Forebode, I think that's a real mistake. Especially in such a creature-based matchup, Eli can just lock down, and I think that it's like, especially, okay, they drew the Wayfarer Shrine, but they had no way to cast No Rest there either, unless they cast Trench Bottom Mariners first. So I think that like Performer and then No Rest would have been much better discards than Eli there. Unless you're thinking, oh well, I'll discard Eli and then bring it back with No Rest. In which case, you already have an Eli engraved to do that. So you should just conserve it and then just be like, well, I can hardcast this Eli and then play the other one if I need. They do now have No Rest mana. Yep, okay, gonna run it out. Please bring back the Eli. Okay, so now they are bringing back the Eli. So, yeah, now with Eli with blocker backup is terrifying, because you can start threatening to lock down the board. Of course, Kenneth can just curve into Weeping Soul, and then they're put in a kind of, well, I can't lock down perfectly scenario, but then you can, because like what? You Eli, next turn you bullet, -2, kill the Wayfaring Pilgrim. They attack for 1, Eli goes down to 1. Then you can just plus and then do it again. And then if not, you also have Event Horizon to kill any stragglers. So, yeah, like this game is pretty over. Okay, on upkeep, okay, it looks like Kenneth was thinking about Bittersweet reunioning on upkeep, but decides against it. I honestly don't think it would have been that bad a play, but I think that also Ancient Council plus Weeping Soul is also a strong line here now that you're at 4 mana. I could also see going... no, there actually isn't a good line. I was going to say, if there's a way to buff Pilgrim up to 4, I could see Ignition Ritual for 2, and then... Oh wait, no, actually deals Planeswalker. So actually, yeah, you could do Ignition Ritual for 2, Wayfaring Pilgrim swings in on Eli to kill. That's actually a really good line. And they're tapping 3 mana. They could be going for it. Yeah, Ignition Ritual X equals 2. So Dusk Lieutenant dies, Eli is going to die to Wayfaring Pilgrim, and suddenly Oshni is very much on the back foot once more. They do have Event Horizon to kill this pesky Wayfaring Pilgrim, though. And Event Horizon, it does share a color with No Rest, and because of the Leitmotif mechanic, No Rest will be able to be cast again, and Eli will be coming right back. And the importance of that is now there'll be Eli on an empty board, which is abjectly terrifying. So yep, Wayfaring Pilgrim takes out Eli. Main 2, the Ancient Council to start buffing up this Wayfaring Pilgrim. So yeah, in fact, another play that could be valid is Event Horizon, the Ancient Council, get back Eli, bullet Wayfaring Pilgrim -2 Eli to kill it. That you do that if you want to, because if Event Horizon is one of your only ways to take out the Ancient Council, which seems valid, especially if the game goes long. But I think that for now, just Event Horizon on the Wayfaring Pilgrim and then start stocking up Eli bullets is probably the way to go. Looking at the composition of Kenneth's deck. Also, with access to 5 mana now, Oshni can Event Horizon and then still have the mana to Trench Bottom Mariners or Performer of Ambition. Performer of Ambition is actually now not even getting that bad at this stage of the game. Okay, now I was going to Trench Bottom Mariners instead. And that triggers no rest. And Eli's coming back, baby. And I think with that, that probably means that Eli's just going to -2 here to eat the Wayfaring Pilgrim. They could even cast a Performer of Ambition off of the Treasure if they wanted to. That would really extend their lead quite a bit. I can see doing it because a Performer of Ambition on flip becomes the Urchin King, who at this point would be a fat 18/18. Okay, so Eli's going to -2 to kill the Wayfaring Pilgrim. We been new. And then, yeah, I think if you're going to Eli to kill the Wayfaring Pilgrim instead of Event Horizon, I think that casting Performer is the right call there. Okay, no, they don't cast it. Because you can flip Performer and next turn and just kill them, is the thing. Because you cast Performer, if they play any creature, you Event Horizon it, you only have one card left in hand, you discard it, Performer of Ambition flips, they take a fat 18, and they're down to 1, but then you also have Trench Bottom Mariner, so they just lose. See, I don't agree with that play at all. I don't think Kenneth has anything that you want to hold up Event Horizon for. So Kenneth, is this on upkeep? Yeah, on upkeep is going to Bittersweet Reunion. Okay, Rend, okay, so Rend can kill, well, Rend can actually just kill Eli straight up, so you definitely do that. You kill Eli here, and then you take your beatings. So yep, Rend comes down to just quickly clean up Eli for the second time. Kenneth's still very much on the back foot here, though, because they don't have any mana to play out the Weeping Souls. They're kind of flooded. Yeah. I think what it's coming down to is that Kenneth's cards, like Weeping Souls, Ancient Council, lots of Kenneth's action is very much like synergistic / contingent on being like, yeah, it's very contingent on like having many pieces to function, while each of Oshni's cards are insane value on their own. Like Trench Bottom milling 3 and making a treasure on ETB, also being recurable on its own, is insane. Eli is obviously just like one-man creature lockout. Performer of Ambition flips into Kill You Dead. Dusk Lieutenant is probably the weakest card here, but still quite strong since it turns into a empty your opponent's hand engine while also giving you card filtering, and so on and so forth. And like No Rest is just a clean 2-for-1. So despite being in the same colors, Kenneth's like synergy-focused plan is able to be picked apart by Oshni's suite of removal and better threats. Okay, Oshni gonna run out the top-decked Prying Inquiry, which I don't know is the move when your opponent has 2 cards in hand, but why not? I'm just gonna grab the Weeping Soul, and that truly puts Kenneth out of this game, probably, unless Kenneth starts top-decking like a god. Though actually, a 7th land could be scary because, I know, actually, Event Horizon, because the token will have CMC 0, so Event Horizon can actually just clean that up. So yeah, so there's actually, I don't think Kenneth really has outs here. Okay, swings in for 3 with the Trench Bottoms. Okay, so he's going to use Trench Bottom's ability, sacking the clue from Prying Inquiry to cast Ricard Dawson. Oh man. You know, I definitely misread Trench Bottom's ability. I thought that, for some reason I thought that it was like when something else attacks, you may cast this from your graveyard. Being able to just cast anything from your graveyard is insane. What? So it looks like, yeah, okay, is going to +1 Ricard, and then immediately crack it to make Kenneth, no, it's just going to, sorry, keep the treasure, yeah. But, yeah, I don't even know what outs Kenneth has. A black spell could allow them to rend the Ricard, but, oh no, okay, Bittersweet Reunion. Not what you want to see here. Cantrips into a Dust Barons, which, ooh, I mean, it's land-based Grave Hate. The problem with it is that it's bad land-based Grave Hate, because they get to choose what to exile. You'd much prefer, we have a land that can Fairy Macabre. I'm forgetting its name right now, but if you're looking for land-based Grave Hate, that is always the move. So I think it might be Midnight Keep, but I'm not certain. Okay, so once again, Oshni going to swing in with the Trench Bottom Mariners. This time, going to cast a Dusk Lieutenant. Why Dusk Lieutenant before Eli would be my question. Like, do you not want to lock your opponent out of the game? I think locking your opponent out of the game is pretty fun. And main 2, finally the Performer of Ambition's coming down. Oshni's life total is getting kind of low here, actually. Just, they've taken so much damage from their pain lands. Okay, not sure why they're immediately flipping it into... It's not an ETB. Maybe they're just trying to check out what the flip side looked like. Yeah, okay, it looks like that's... No? Not sure what any of that... Looks like, yeah, maybe they're trying to check out what the flip side was. But yeah, next turn, assuming... I think Kenneth's only play here is crack the Ancient Council, at which point it gets Event Horizon, you can play the land, Performer flips, Kenneth's dead. Okay, on upkeep is gonna Bittersweet Reunion from Grave. No, Kenneth is getting so flooded here. This is so unfortunate. And Ancient Council number 2 is not the move. Yeah, Kenneth is just dead here. Realistically, Kenneth should not have, or I guess Bittersweet Reunion makes. I was gonna say Kenneth should not have Bittersweet Reunion because you're out as to Ancient Council install for a Ignition Ritual. But I guess this does about as good a job of that because you cantrip anyways. So yeah, now Oshni has lethal. The question is, will they find it? Well, actually, lethal is very easy to find because Kenneth put themselves to 1 card in hand, so Performer is actually just going to auto flip here. And that's like emphatically lethal because they're attacking for 25 here. I appreciate Kenneth's thoroughness to go to the minus. But yeah, Oshni, despite having that slow start, was just able to value grind out Kenneth game 1. Okay, let's look at sideboarding for each of these players to see what they can do. First off, for Kenneth, Cold Grave is definitely really good here. You can kind of just like lots of Oshni's game plan focuses around grave recursion, and you can just nip that in the bud. I think you side out the Wicked Weavings from more Ignition Rituals because of the size of Oshni's creatures and planeswalkers. Felor Charm, I don't know how much I vibe with it, but I think it's probably better than the Bittersweet Reunion. Maybe not the Bittersweet Reunions, but it's probably better than like this Wicked Blow. Wicked Blow is not very good, I'm gonna be real. Then Duresses are also, funnily enough, lots of this is good. I think Duresses are pretty good here. You get to grab the Planeswalkers. I could see maybe bringing in 2 copies of this, but I'm already suggesting lots of bring-ins and not a lot of space to take stuff out. I think you take out the Oracle's Vision for sure. So let's swap Oracle's Vision for Cold Graves. Then Wicked Weavings for Ignition Rituals, and then and then Wicked Blow for a Felor Charm, and then the rest of the Felor Charm / Duresses. I think if there's space to take stuff out, then do it. Otherwise, nah, it's cool. Next up for Oshni, Memento Mori, kind of sick. Honestly, you can take out. I don't think it's really needed because their deck is pretty teched out. Titan Snare sucks in this matchup. Vibrant Rapture, I could definitely see Vibrant Rapture over some of the other interaction. Like Prying Inquiry is a good card and it makes artifacts, but so does Vibrant Rapture, and it's better against an aggressive deck. Investment Returns, like technically Kent's deck is aggressive, but it's not aggressive enough that I think you need an Investment Returns. I think you can just just swap in the Vibrant Raptors and then call it a day. Oshni's deck is just so much better in the long game that all you need to do is kill their board and just live to tell the tale. So let's look at what Game 2 has wrought as soon as these players actually finish their sideboarding. Okay, getting into Game 2. Kenneth opening up with the turn 1 Unending Sands, and then turn 2 Oracle's Vision into double Flare Blitz, playing more of the control and the beatdown this time. Also has Cold Grave from the sideboard, which is going to be quite good against a recursion option. Oshni opening up with Tri-Land, but also importantly has a turn 2 play this time. Has Initiative, and then a turn after that Prying Inquiry, and lots of good mana over here. So as soon as they hit a 3-drop, they can curve out very nicely. The problem is Initiative is going to eat a Flare Blitz to the face, and then if Oshni doesn't draw a threat quickly, Kenneth could probably put the beat down. I'm really surprised that Kenneth kept the Oracle's Visions in. I think they're really bad in this matchup, and especially given that Kenneth has so many sideboard slots that would work so well. So I'm curious what Kenneth sided out, if not the Oracle's. So it looks like Kenneth is going to run out the Oracle's Vision. Milling Wayfaring Pilgrim, Sandswept Bazaar, and another Wayfaring Pilgrim. Oh, do not want to. Meanwhile, Oshni Mills, Pay Up, Trench Bottom Mariners, and Away. Trench Bottom notably is recurable, so that's a good. Okay, turn 2, Oshni is going to run out the Initiative. And again, putting stuff into Grave is going to be great for this No Rest. No Rest top deck was actually insane here because now it's the kind of curve topper that Oshni needed. Meanwhile, Initiative just grows bigger and bigger. And that Oracle's Vision gets Initiative like almost halfway to flipping. And once Initiative flips, it's another absolute. It's interesting that Oshni chose not to bottom whatever they saw with seeing what that is next. Or not bottom, mill. Because you really only want to keep on top if it's really good. But yeah, Flare Blitz going to come down, kill the Initiative. And Mafua is an insane top deck for Cam. And unless, I mean, If Oshni kept a 3-drop on top, I could definitely see. They might play that instead. But really, they have the Prying Inquiry that could take out the Mafua, and that's the important part. But they have no way of knowing that, like, yo, Kenneth's got this terrifying win con that I have no other way of answering that could also potentially lock me out. No, they kept a land on top. Okay, because they wanted to be able to play no rest turn 4. I could see it. Also, oh wait, no, sorry, they drew the pay up. I'm sorry. They kept the pay up on top? I guess hand attack works well in conjunction. What they can do here is you pay up, take out a Cold Grave, and also take out Mafua. Honestly, discarding Unending Sands is probably the move. Like, you choose Cold Grave because you want them to discard. Yeah, so you choose Cold Grave. They'll discard Flare Blitz because they want to be able to play Mafua next turn. Or they'll just discard the Cold Grave, in which case you're cool with it. And then you Prying Inquiry, eat the Mafua. So either way, I think Oshni is going to come out on top here. Unless Kenneth does something that I'm not thinking. Oshni could also name like Mafua and then Kenneth discards Flare Blitz. This is one of the new cards from El Mare, which is one of the 2 sets that just joined the format. Oshni's deck is using a lot of cards from El Mare and Dark Seas of Shirian, which are the 2 of the sets to just be added to the format. For example, Trench Bottom Mariners, also from El Mare. If you remember if you remember, because I certainly can't, the 4/2 Pirate for 1 black, that's from Dark Seas of Shirian. So lots of new cards on display in Oshni's deck, which we always love to see new and unexplored meta call. So it seems like Oshni named Cold Grave, and then Kenneth decided to discard that. Makes sense. I think I probably would have. But yeah, now they're going to get Prying Inquiry, and Mafua is going to be taken away. And now Kenneth is in a much more precarious, especially with like next turn you no rest back Trench Bottom Mariners. That's definitely painful. And the perpetual Kenneth Flood. No, I think you probably just play you play the Unending Sands, and then you save the Flare Blitz here because you can return the other Flare Blitz to your. So I don't think you run out. Ooh, but one good thing that the Unending Sands can do is grab these creature lands. I actually missed this. So he's going to be able to grab this desert creature land, which is a good threat to put up when Kenneth basically. Unfortunately, next turn Oshni goes no rest, drops the Trench Bottom Mariners, which eat the Sunraised Ruins, and then potentially just also grab back something. Okay, another land, not really what Oshni wanted to see, but it doesn't matter because they're going to get their value, damn it. Okay. And Trench Bottom Mariners is coming down after the no rest. It might. I think the Trench Bottom Mariners is going to instantly eat a Flare Blitz here, but the damage has already been. The one thing is Oshni doesn't actually have a second spell to trigger no rest, so they could get screwed here if they don't draw well. But they do have the clue to get an extra draw in. And on end, Kenneth is going to bounce back the Flare Blitz for spicy damage. It's also doesn't clue Oshni into the fact that Kenneth actually has 2 Flare. No, wait, actually, Oshni already knew that because of hack, so that doesn't matter. Ooh, Mafua. Okay, I actually think that you run out the Mafua -2 to kill the Trench Bottom Mariners, and then you have a threat down. I think that's something that is so deployable. Okay, so as expected, Kenneth is going to drop the Mafua and immediately yeet the Trench Bottom Mariners, which is... So now, with that one top deck, Kenneth has put themselves back in a good position because they now have a threat. You know what? Never mind. Eli coming down being very scary. Because you now Eli, bring back an Ishtu, and all of a sudden things are pretty bad. Actually no. Well, you want to cast Eli here, but Eli actually doesn't do that much because you +1 him so to put him out of Flare Blitz range, but then he just dies to Mafua. But then having Mafua having to attack in means that next turn you attack with an Ishtu, flip an Ishtu, kill Mafua. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. No, but they can attack with Mafua and Flare Blitz to kill an Ishtu, so Oshni is still in kind of a bad position here. Oh no, they missed. Oh no, they missed the no rest. No, they missed the no rest. Oh, that's really bad for Oshni. Okay, I guess they could do out of order sequencing, but technically, if you +1 Eli, you're not supposed to be able to cast the no rest. But their opponent was tapped out anyways, and they did it like immediately. I guess it's fine, but whew. For a second there, I almost thought they'd just straight forgotten about the no rest. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, the problem is Inishtu eats a Flare Blitz, Eli eats a Mafua to the face. Really, at this point, needs an Event Horizon. That's the top deck that Oshni needs here. Okay, Wayfaring Pilgrim as another threat is really good here. And you have the mana to Wayfaring Pilgrim, and then Flare Blitz, and then Mafua, both of whom gain you life, so Wayfaring Pilgrim pumps up to a 4/4 this turn alone. And yep, Flare Blitz is going to come down, kill the Inishtu. Wayfaring gains more clout. You ever wonder if like Wayfaring Pilgrim like mixes up his inspirational phrase, like hope is my bed and faith is my bread. Not goddamn it. No, I will not take the Lord's name in vain. I mean, hope is my faith and bed is my bread. No, damn it. It's just so generic and you can swap it around. Okay, enough memeing. Mafua plus ones and is gonna take out Eli. Yeah, being a 5/5 is hefty. And Kenneth gains a full 5 life. Wayfaring Pilgrim ticks up again. Okay, on end, Oshni cracked the clue to draw an Inishtu and then naturally drew a Performer, neither of which really managed to answer what's happening here. They can play, the best play might just be play Inishtu and a Performer, and then pray? I guess Kenneth can't kill them both, is the thought, without killing Mafua. But I think Kenneth will have to realize that -2ing Mafua is the better play here, despite how good Mafua is. And we'll just Flare Blitz one of them, Mafua the other, and then just start off with some Wayfaring Pilgrim beats. Because Wayfaring Pilgrim kills in technically 3 hits, but if Kenneth gets a land or another life gain effect, can bounce and replay Flare Blitz, and that's just eminently death for Oshni. Okay, Oracle's Vision is neither a land nor a life gain effect, but Kenneth still has another turn to be able to try and draw into one, and Oracle's Vision is, another cantrip. I don't think you play the Oracle's Vision this turn, is the thing. Main reason being you don't want to accidentally mill Oshni into some gas. Okay, so Flare Blitz number 2 coming down. That's gonna eat the Performer. Mafua is plussing. Okay, I think that this is a mistake because Inishtu flip becomes... Because you can't... Wayfaring... No, and they're double attack? Oh no, because that's 5... Oh no. That's 10 damage. Okay, yeah, that is a lot of damage, but then Inishtu gets to flip and kill Mafua, and then if Oshni top decks a removal spell for Wayfaring Pilgrim, they're still dead because of Sunrays Ruins. Oh. Yeah, actually, I don't think that there is a way out for Oshni. Well, actually, they aren't necessarily dead to Sunrays, because Sunrays only deals 2 damage, so they can flip Inishtu. So if they top deck an Event Horizon, they flip Inishtu, kill Mafua, Event Horizon, Wayfaring Pilgrim, then pay 3 mana to use Inishtu's flip ability, but they top decked a Prying Inquiry, so we're going to game 3. Oh, and the classic, I'm going to go out on my own terms, bullets to the face. But yeah, what happened there, Oshni had a good curve, but those Flare Blitzes were just lethal. Just perfectly positioned to take out all of Oshni's threats. And then Mafua did to Oshni what Oshni was doing with Eli and Ricard last game. Just, man, these white-black X walkers that can really put... And neither of them are even playing Mapumo, who is the classic who's the classic white-black, you don't get to ever play creatures ever again. MSEM does have a lot of those. And I will say, part of that is Ricard, Mapumo, Mafua, all designed by the same person. So, okay, kind of an interesting starter for Kenneth. I think Ancient Council is probably one of the worst cards on its own, so not great. But Flare Blitz plus Mafua is a deadly combination as we saw last time, and Coldgrave is a good card. The only problem is they don't actually have the lands to be able to play Flare Blitz. If one of these Ancient Councils was another land, much better. But Kenneth is keeping. He's gambling on, because they're going second, the more draws means more lands, right? Meanwhile, Oshni here, kind of a perfect curve out. You have Inishtu into Performer Vision into No Rest. So, yeah, that's kind of disgusting, especially since Inishtu's attacks will mill you cards that you can No Rest back or Unearth back on an earlier turn. So this is really a disgusting curve out. But Kenneth might also have a good curve out themselves. Wayfaring Pilgrim, or Ancient Council into Wayfaring Pilgrim, into the Flare Blitz. The problem is they won't be able to get down the Flare Blitz in time to kill the initiative before it gets an attack in. And there's the fourth land needed for a no rest. I think the problem is sometimes even if a hand is crazy, you don't want to keep it on the assumption that you're going to draw lands, and that might come back to bite Kenneth. Meanwhile, this might have been the perfect hand for Oshni, honestly. I think Performer could probably have been switched for an Eli. Eli would have been the perfect 3-drop here, but it's still a very commanding hand. But hey, speak of the devil, there is the third land for Kenneth. And then, so yeah, you probably just drop the Wayfaring Pilgrim this turn, which is going to be... This turn isn't useful, but starts growing very quickly with the Ancient Council. Next turn, you can Flare Blitz either the Performer or the Inishtu, probably the Inishtu, just because the Performer you have more time to deal with, and you can eat it more easily. Actually, no. No, you could actually just kill the Performer Ambition next turn, because then your Wayfaring Pilgrim comes at 3-3 and can eat the 2-3 Inishtu. Then turn after that, you drop Mafua, and things start getting real hairy. But then Oshni has time to drop No Rest, which becomes kind of like counter hairy, which is never a phrase I thought I'd say. Oshni might also just run out the Prying Inquiry here instead of the Performer Mission. Okay, yeah, actually, so it's going to attack with an Inishtu. This actually determines it, because if they mill a cheap creature which they can unearth, I think it makes more sense to Prying Inquiry plus unearth to just be able to take out a threat, especially since Oshni knows from last game how painful it is to be caught on the other side of a Mafua. Oh, and they mill a Performer of Ambition. This is literally perfect. Just you unearth the Performer, you Prying Inquiry, take out the Mafua. Kenneth can Flare Blitz one of your threats, but you're still so up. This is the definition of painful. Really, the only problem here is this pesky, infinigrowing Wayfaring Pilgrim over here. But Oshni, when an Ishtu flips, it can Infiniblock. Also, Oshni can cycle the Unearth and crack the Clue if they really need to dig deep for an Event Horizon. But yeah, with Mafua out of there, Oshni's threat sticking around is a lot more certain. And yep, Unearth getting back the Performer of Ambition just for kicks. If Mafua was a CMC3 card, well, obviously he'd be insane then. But it would be really filthy if Oshni could get back Kenneth's Mafua with this no rest, because it doesn't say your graveyard, it says a graveyard. Also might mean that like a trade on the trade here with Wayfaring Pilgrim Performer Ambition is quite good, because then you just no rest and be like, oh yeah, I'll just get it back. Which is also why I don't think Kenneth should attack here. I think you probably Flare Blitz. You Flare Blitz the... It's hard to say. I would say Flare Blitz the Performer and then immediately Cold Grave it would be my instinct. Yeah, because this way you can... I think you keep Wayfaring Pilgrim up as a blocker for Inishtu. You could also put on the pressure too, I suppose, but... Maybe attacking is a play to win rather than play not to lose move. But I think without any removal for the Inishtu, things start getting hairy real quick. But now, yeah, you definitely Cold Grave to be able to take out the Performer and prevent it from being recurred. And it looks like Kenneth is going for the play to win line, is going to swing for 4 with the Wayfaring Pilgrim. And main 2, yeah, Cold Grave to take out the Performer Ambition. That's really good because it does prevent Oshni from just running out the no rest. Now they have no targets in grave. They can Initiate to try and find one, but otherwise they have to run out Performer of Ambition naturally. And another land not doing them any favors off the top. So how many turns does this Wayfaring Pilgrim actually kill in? Next turn it deals 5 damage. The turn after that it will deal 7. So it kills in just shy of 3. It kills in 3 turns, but then if Kenneth has any ways to life gain bump or deal more damage. Actually, no, Kenneth can bounce Flare Blitz. So Kenneth has a kill in 2 turns. Okay, what is Oshni? Oshni mills. It looks like they milled Murky Pete off the top. Yeah, you want to get more lands off the top. Pays 3 for the Performer of Ambition. Hands are getting kind of small here. So Kenneth probably just wants to play the Ancient Count. I don't know. If Kenneth top decks a Mafua, I think this game is really just over. That's the ideal. Or another Flare Blitz, honestly. Both of those, any sort of interaction is just paramount here. No Rest putting up like more blockers for Kenneth to deal with is quite annoying, because it makes it so that this Wayfaring Pilgrim is not quite as good as it could be. And wow, both players in their top decking lands phase of the game, it looks like. So Kenneth swings in with the Wayfaring Pilgrim, Oshni with no blocks. Main 2, Ancient Council number 2 going to come down. Now this Wayfaring Pilgrim is growing by 2 every turn. And then Kenneth can hold up the mana to bounce Flare Blitz. And then kill another thing next turn. The problem is by doing this, Kenneth has opened Performer to flip. And Performer, that means that Performer is hitting as a 7/7. It also means that this Performer does no longer dies to Flare Blitz. So I don't... I almost feel like Kenneth should have kept Ancient Council there. No, actually, no. Actually, no. What Kenneth can do is bounce Flare Blitz in response to the Performer of Ambition trigger, and then discard Hostile Dunes. Actually, yeah, you know what? That's actually fair. So, yeah. Oh, but the problem is, Inishtu still gets to flip. That was kind of unavoidable, because Oshni milled something off Inishtu and discards a card to Performer. So, in response to the Performer trigger, bounce the Flare Blitz, you discard the Hostile Dunes. So Inishtu gets to flip, but not Performer. The problem is Inishtu is now like an indestructible blocker that gains life every turn, which is kind of nasty. This is also why Kenneth should have popped the Cold Grave earlier to prevent this from happening. Oshni... Oh wait, no. I thought Oshni accidentally looked at their whole library instead of... Yeah, okay. That... Generally, if that happens, call a judge, people. Don't. But yeah, they're now at 7 cards. Inishtu gets to flip. Again, reason that the Cold Grave probably should have been popped earlier. Oh? Oh, did they miss it? Oh, they missed it. Oh my god, Oshni missed the Inishtu flip trigger. Oh no, because it is a May transform. Oh my god, they missed the Inishtu flip trigger. Oh wait, no, it's the beginning of your upkeep. I'm stupid. I'm just very stupid. Ignore me. It doesn't flip on attack. Okay. Which also means that Kenneth didn't need to crack the Cold Grave earlier. I just assumed that, I think I got mixed up because Perform Ambition has its thing happen and then immediately checks and flips, so I kind of got that mixed up with Inishtu. That is definitely my bad. So yeah. So if you're Kenneth here, you probably just Flare Blitz, kill Performer of Ambition. Inishtu, you can cold... Oh, but you won't have mana to Cold Grave unless you top deck a land. Oh. Actually, wait. What am I even talking about? Oh no, yeah, I'm stupid. Oshni is dead to known information because Wayfaring Pilgrim swings in for 7. Flare Blitz hits for 3. Oshni's at 9 life. This game is over. No! Kenneth cracks the Cold Grave! No! Kenneth, no! They were dead! No! Kenneth, no! Oh, this is so bad. I guess they get to scry 1, and if they hit a land, Oshni's still dead, but no! Kenneth! I mean, I was making the same mistake in my head too, but no! Okay, so Kenneth did top deck a land. So they still have the win, if they see it. Please see it. Flare Blitz face. And that's it. In a nail-biter of a back-and-forth set, Kenneth wins the Mardu Mirror. And wins our first recorded match of Grand Prix Rome. This is super cool. And I'm super glad to have been able to commentate this as my first match. Because again, it was both of these players' first matches of MSEM as well. And I know sometimes I go a little dummy hard on like mistakes or whatever, but it's all in like good faith is my intention, and I only wish the best for the players because this format would be nothing without having players, and it's easy to say to like notice mistakes or whatever as a commentator when you have access to full game information and aren't in the stress of playing. But yeah, good games to both players, and hopefully you guys will keep up with some of the upcoming coverage of Grand Prix Rome, which, again, there should be a lot of, since in this first round alone, we have 22 matches. Obviously, I won't be able to catch all of them, but I will do my darndest to get as many of them as I can. But until then, this is Caillou signing off.